Scoop.
Hey, good evening, Talking Fight fans. Once again, thanks for joining us on The Scoop. Tonight, Bola Ray has a very special guest joining us, as it seems to be a week of special guests on The Scoop. Why don't you give us a bit of an intro, Bola, and introduce our guest?
Yeah, today I'm bringing a real special guy. He is a former amateur champion, former Olympian, actually well-decorated amateur career, traveled the world and represented us really well. Then turned pro, but more importantly, won the Canadian title as a professional. So this guy, he knows how to win, to say the least. But over and above that, his life is boxing. He is now a dedicated and well-decorated professional boxing coach. My name is Bola Raymond Oluwole, and this is The Scoop. We're talking today with one Howard Grant from Montreal. Howard, how you doing?
How are you?
Very good,
Thanks
my
for having
man.
me.
Thanks for coming on board. Thanks for coming on board.
Yeah, it's been a while. We talk once in a while, but we don't see each other too much.
I know, and especially with this COVID nonsense, boxing's dead. Boxing's all dead.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere in Canada.
I wanted to start off by asking you to give a little synopsis as to your beginnings, your early beginnings in the sport. You made the national team the first time, 82, 83?
Yes, 83, yeah. But before that, I was on the Quebec team. We started, my brother and I, we started boxing together. We came into this country from Jamaica in 19. We started boxing in 79. I was introduced to the boxing gym by a friend of ours named Alex Stakos I went to school with. And I guess, like they said, we got smitten. So that's it. That's how we started.
The sport's intoxicating, to say the least.
Yeah.
From your starting, you went out and you saw early success. Or more importantly, what kept your interest in the sport?
I think it was a competitiveness and also the one-on-one aspect of the game. I did play basketball and I did do some cross-country running, but I think the one-on-one aspect, you have nobody to blame. And at that time, I wasn't even thinking about it. You're young. I was 13 years old when I started. And when I was 15, I won my first Canadian title in BC. And then 16 years national team. On the junior, I went to the World Junior Championships, won a bronze medal, and I never looked back ever since.
That's amazing. You remember people on that team?
There was Asif Dar. I remember Asif. There was wow. I tell you, I would really have to do a bit of research. But we had a pretty good team. Lennox Lewis, of course. Lennox was the only gold medalist. I won a bronze. I think there was another bronze there, but I can't remember. But we had a pretty good team. And for me, what was so interesting about this World Championship, I think losing in the semifinals to the Cuban that I fought, I think he was maybe one of the best. He was the hardest puncher I ever fought, and maybe one of the best fighters I ever fought in my entire life.
Wow.
His name was Angel Espinosa. Passed away a year ago in Florida. Yeah, 50, like my age, and at that time there was all the Russians, Romanians, the Germans, Cubans. Everybody was there. So it was. I think it was tougher back then when it was when the Eastern Bloc country was there. It was tough. The competition was very, 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 very tough.
How do you see, like, what would quantify it being any different than today?
Well, the USSR back then, the Soviet Union, was one country. Now today they have Ukraine, they have Russia, they have Uzbekistan, they have Kazakhstan, they have Azerbaijan, they got Armenia, and I could go on and on. They've made 14 different countries in one country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then they had East Germany. Romania. These guys were, most of the fighters are part of the Red Army or the military aspect of it. And I think what was different to us as fighters back in the 80s, we didn't have all these gadgets like we do today. We're focused on what we have to do. I think today there's a bit too much of a distraction for that. That's my personal sin. I can't say it about all the other guys.
Sure.
There's a lot of distractions in not only in boxing but in a lot of sporting field in life itself.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You then went on to represent Canada in quite a few international games, Commonwealth Games, World Championship, what have you. But most notably, you were part of that team, that '88 Seoul team. That was an iconic year, by my standard. That was an iconic year for robberies. That was an iconic year for wins. Other than 2016, I don't know if I can't think of another one in my lifetime that was so controversial.
You know what? A lot of guys got ripped off in the '88 Olympics. I was in a very close fight. I lost a close decision to a Swede. But I remember Roy Jones getting robbed blind, against a Korean. And the Olympics was held in South Korea.
Yep.
I remember Todd Foster, the guy that fought at 63.5 kilo, the American. He had to fight against the current guy 2 times. He knocked him out, and then they said it was a hit behind the head, and they made them fight again in the evening time. They fought in the afternoon, then they had to fight again in the evening time, and then Foster really knocked the guy out again. So there was a lot of politics. There was a lot of, the political aspect of the game from back then. It's been around, but it was a lot of guys got ripped off.
That's insanity, because I know the story of Jamie Pagadam.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
I forgot who Jamie fought in the quarterfinals, or was it the quarterfinals?
It was he fought Mongolia. He fought Mongolia.
I don't remember. I can't remember exactly.
So, a quick synopsis, but he was fighting a guy from Mongolia. In the second round, he cracks him with a solid left. The ref stops the fight, gives him a standing 8 count. Later on in the fight, he catches him with a right hook, drops him. He gets another 8 count. He catches a couple seconds before the round is over, catches him again with another right hook, drops him again. In accordance to amateur rules then and today, 3 knockdowns in a rule, 3 standing 8 counts in a round is automatic, TKO. But that ref let the fight go on into the 3rd round. The Canadian corner didn't say anything. No one said anything. Goes into the next round. Then the Mongolian guy drops Jamie with a left hook. Jamie gets up, and the ref just doesn't even count him. Just walks him to the corner.
Wave the fight off.
Wave the fight off. Walks him to the corner. Jamie's like, "What the hell's going on? The fight's done." Goes, "No, I'm fine." He didn't even count him. Let the fight go. Now Jamie's all upset, and now after the fight, after they get out of the ring, that's when they go off. The Team Canada goes off and puts in a petition to say this is that was a blatant foul. That's just criminal what they just did. So they reversed the win, gave it to Jamie, and he had to get ready for his next fight against Bulgaria. Well, Bulgaria then goes off and puts in a petition saying that Jamie can't continue because he got knocked out or he got knocked down. The ref stopped the fight because of head trauma because he got knocked down. Well, and then they were successful in not letting Jamie go on. But then if that's the case, then what the hell did they do with Todd Foster there?
Yeah. Foster got shot. He knocked the guy out. They wanted the Koreans wanted to meddle in, the guy.
Precisely.
He smashed him again in the second fight, and he went on. I think got a silver medal in the Olympics.
3 hours later. But the thing is, they successfully denied Jamie to fight for 30 days because that was the rules. You get knocked out, you get 30-day suspension.
Yeah.
But they twisted the rules for the Korean guy against Todd Foster. Like it was arguably one of the most.
Yeah, it was a lot of. You do after the 88 Olympics, they changed the scoring. It was because of what happened with, especially with Roy Jones. They changed the scoring. What's the proper word I'm looking for? The way they're scoring, they started now with this number system. Like, guys are winning fight 5-2, 5-3, 15-10. Instead of judging like a professional fight. Now they went back to judging the right way. But this computerized system, punching numbers was completely stupid.
It was electronic, and it was also what's called point scoring, and
point scoring.
That had a host of problems in its own right.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
But boxing has changed a lot since the 80s. I mean, it's not the same. It's changed a lot. I think sports has changed a lot. So much money involved. Everything's changed. The hunger I don't see like now. Today I look at Huh? It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot.
Changed for the worse or the better?
I think for the worse, because like when I was fighting at the time, I was a carded athlete. I was getting paid by the government. Every month I was ranked like second in the world. I was getting paid, but now I don't even think they help the athletes. I was even told one time, the athletes got to pay like half tickets to fly, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, back then we were sponsored by Adidas. We got everything. We got tracksuits, boxing shoes, boxing trunks, tank tops, the headgears, name it, everything. They really looked. Adidas really. I am biased with everything. I wear Adidas only. You know what I mean? Still today, they really looked after us, and I was great. And also looked after the athletes. Some guys were getting funded from the government or from the province or whatever the case was. But I don't think that it's like that today. And today there's more money. So what happened? It doesn't make any sense.
So could that be why we're not seeing the gold medals or the medals? Period.
Maybe that's why we're not. Yeah, maybe that's why. I mean, I was reading an article a few years ago. They wanted to send, I think, 2 or 3 guys to the Olympics. It doesn't make any sense. There's 12 weight classes. You're going to say there's not 12 guys in Canada or 10 guys in Canada to represent the country in the Olympic Games. Money to fund to send the guys over there. It doesn't make any sense.
The next Olympic Games is going to have 8 male and 5 female.
8 males.
8 males, 8 male divisions. We still have the full spectrum competing, but only 8 is going to be represented in the Olympic Games.
Wow. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So there
8 male, 5 female.
8 weight classes. What you're saying, there's going to be 8 weight classes.
8 weight classes.
So let's say there's a featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, and super middleweight, and another weight class, and heavyweight.
No super or anything. No, you got the featherweight.
Yeah.
Lightweight. What's it called? I think bantamweight, welterweight, middleweight, and then they go up to light heavy with the 3 big boys: the light heavy, the heavyweight, and the super heavyweight.
Okay.
But in the little ones, they're cutting out the
flyweight, the 106.
What's that?
The 106, the 112.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was 106, 112, the smaller weight classes out.
Precisely.
Yeah. So what are they going to do for the women?
What is that? Or more importantly, there's going to be 5 weight classes there. They've added 2 new ones: welterweight and I think middleweight. But then they kept I think 126, 135, and I think not 147, maybe one smaller. But there's 5. Top is middleweight.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're they're playing with what they're doing. They're trying to reinvent the wheel. The wheel was never broken to start.
They're gonna alienate a lot of countries. You have countries that predominantly are little fighters. So you have like the Philippines, who's stacked with little guys, but now they don't have the opportunities because they're little.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? You know what? In the shots, we have no say. We're like sheeps. You know, can't do nothing. But I miss those days. Our days were good. Those amateur days in the 80s with the guy. Anyways, I hated you guys in Ontario. I could tell that right now. Respectfully, you know what I mean? It was like Quebec and Ontario. Like, you know, you bastards, you son of a bitches. You guys are winning it all. I mean, you guys, I hated you guys. I hated you with a passion. Then my brother would lose to Egerton, and you know, then he would come back. You know, it was crazy. And then I lost faster than I came back. Ontario was you guys were the king of the hill, man, and you were hated by everybody. Everybody, you're on the national team from Ontario. Then there was me from Quebec, down here from Nova Scotia, a Manitoba from BC, and another guy maybe from Alberta. That was it. It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. It was all Ontario. It was nuts, you know. But the programs have changed so much, you know. It's crazy, you know.
We're now living in a world where it's now you guys. Quebec is the powerhouse.
Yeah, well, I think they did a good job. You know, they brought some trainers from. There was a guy here from Cuba before, and then they brought somebody else in, and you know, so they made some changes over the last, I guess, 10 or 15 years. I really don't follow the amateurs too much. You know, I don't.
Actually, that's what I was going to ask you. You then turned pro, and your pro career, you won the Canadian title against my boy Nedrick Simmons. That was a good fight.
Yeah,
that was an amazing fight. Nedrick was tough.
Did I win a 12 round, or did I stop him in the 12th or the 11th?
No, you stopped.
I think I stopped him in the 12th or the 11th. I don't remember. That's
7th. You stopped.
You're going. Yeah. It's I had to dog it out with these guys. Another guy from Ontario again. You know?
Added fire. But
and then I end up I ended up fighting Greg Gale before that. Greg Gale, another guy that I fought in the amateur. I fought him. It's like, you know, these guys, let's get out of here. Like, you guys are hanging around too much. Get out, you know. But yeah, Mike was, you know, they say I could have excelled more, but I had some pretty tough fights in an early time. I mean, I fought against Jake the Snake Rodriguez in I think it was my 6th or 7th fight. And Jake the Snake Rodriguez ended up being the IBF champion at 140. Wow. I lost to Billy Schuer. He became European champion, and I lost to Stevie Johnson.
You lost to him in the Commonwealth.
No, I'm talking about in the pros. No, in the Commonwealth, I won. Yes, exactly. Billy Schuer fight. That's right. Yeah. In England, and I got dropped one shot, and they stopped the fight like this. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what they'll do.
Yeah, and then I lost to Stevie Johnson, and Stevie Johnson became WBC champion for quite some time. Two-time WBC champion lightweight. So you know, my career was it looks good on paper. I lost to I lost to two good guys, and I had a draw with a former world champion. You know, so, yeah, and then I got out of the game and I started coaching.
Exactly. You made a career of the game. And what a career you did too. Like, I love. How many champions have you worked with?
I don't know, man. I'm not a guy to have an agenda to write on all the guys. I just, I try to enjoy every moment that I have with all the guys. I even work with some opponents, which is like, guys that think they're gonna, and I just go in there. I try to help everybody. Black, white, yellow, whatever it is. I'm there. When I'm there, I'm there to win. You know.
I looked across the ring twice at you. Twice at you. Remember?
I'm thinking.
When I fought that one called Paul Mabongo, and I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, Paul Bongo. Paul Mbongo. Yeah.
Remember what you told me at the end of the fight?
I don't remember.
I'll never forget it. I walked over to say congrats because they called it a draw. And you go, Ray, they robbed you. Don't come back to Quebec.
What was this?
You won that
should have won the fight. Yeah. Wow.
I was like, I knew I won the fight.
Where was the fight? Was the fight in Quebec or in Montreal?
It was in Montreal. It was at the Bell Center.
Yeah. Because I was training Paul. Yeah.
You were training Paul. And then the second time I looked across the corner and you and Otis were in David Cadou's corner when I fought for the Canadian title in Trois-Rivières.
Yes. What happened there? I don't remember. You're going way back. I'm talking about you're going way back. That's early 2000, man. Yeah,
that was 2008.
Yeah,
I knocked out David in the 6th round.
You knocked him out in the city.
And I knocked him out in the 6th. I stopped him in the 6th. That was like one of my best fights ever. He was an incredible fighter. He was an incredible athletic.
Nice guy too. Yeah.
Really nice guy. So you don't talk to him. I didn't want to talk to him because I don't have time for that until after the fight. But no, really talented fighter, and that's one proud moment for me. But I remember,
you know, who was his head coach was oh my God, I forget him. But they asked my brother and I to hop cuts, but his head coach was
Steve.
His name. He passed away. The guy. He passed away. The old man. You know what I mean? But he's a he's a gentleman. David.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So you're 1-1. You have one win against me, one draw. That's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. Could you feed me up another one? You have another heavyweight for me?
Oh man, it's better like this. We sit and we laugh together, have a drink together.
Oh wow. You have a great deal of like I said, you've trained quite a few notable champions over the years. A couple friends of mine, Oliver Leconte being one of them. But I wanted to see if you talk a little bit about a name fighter that goes by Librado. What happened in that scenario?
Well,
with Bute?
I thought it was a good friend of mine, and how I met this guy, him and my brother fought, and we were fighting for a title elimination. And I forget the date, but they ended up stopping Otis in the 9th round. I stopped the fight. Otis' eyes were shut. He couldn't see. He got dropped. And Librado at the time was like a bulldozer. Forgot about it. Yeah. This guy was like just you hit him, he rose his head like this, and he just kept coming. And they're like, "Wait, listen, you have to shoot this guy to slow him down." You know what I mean? And he beat Otis, and he one day he called me and he asked me if I could help him. And I told him, yeah. And the first fight we had, he fought against. He was here in Quebec for like 6 weeks training camp, 6-7 weeks, and we fought against Robert Stiglitz in California, and we knocked Stiglitz out. He beat the living piss out of this guy, and this guy became world champion afterwards. I mean, he demoralized him. Wow. And then he fought against. After that, I think he had one fight. Then he fought Bute, and the fight with Bute was was very controversial, but you know what I mean. These are things that happen in the game. It was a very bad time for me because I was suspended. went to push the referee, and I got 3 months suspension. I had to go in front of a tribunal and all this thing, and but the nice thing that came out of all of this scenario, Bute asked me to coach him at the end of his career. But this Bute, Librado, and my brother, these three guys fought against each other, and I'm honored to be a part of all these three guys. And not my brother. I mean, we're together. We're partners in the business. It's my brother. But I speak to Librado every month. Every couple of weeks we talk. You know what I mean? We're very close, and Bute and I were very close. You know what I mean? So not to say the boxing people, they're these barbarian and they hate each other. After it's said and done, a lot of the guys. And I mean, we had an event here last year to fight against pancreatic cancer. Yeah, and Librado came up for this. Librado was here in the city for this. There's a friend of mine's mother. Daughter is going up with, they're going to get married, and we did this, and Librado was there, and my brother was there. We're all hugging and kissing, taking pictures. It's very nice to see this kind of thing, the bond that you could have after your first finish, and you sit down. I mean, it's crazy. It's a hell of a thing.
Genuinely.
Yeah. Bute is a good guy. Bute is a great man. You know what I mean? Librado's a great man. My brother's a good. These guys are. Good soul, these guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We make some of the greatest friends by punching each other in the head.
It's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a thing because the first fight, Bute was beating the living piss out of Librado, and then Librado heard him, and then he started to get tired. I told Librado, "What do you have to do with it?" And he was out there like an animal, and dropped him, and it was a kind of a long. Bute won the fight, the decision.
26 seconds.
Huh?
26 seconds. It was 26 seconds. I don't
know. You saw the video. I don't know. It's over with. But the second fight, Bute, won. He fair and square. Nice. He redeemed himself by now beautiful. His shot uppercut to the solar plex. Yeah. It was over. And the rest is history. We became friends after. I was very bitter. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What would you like to happen? How would you like boxing? Or what corrections would you like to see in well, you said that you don't follow the amateur game, but how about the pro game? What changes would you like to see? What evolution?
I believe what should happen and what I would like to see happen, and I think what some of the fighters would like to see happen, to see all the promoters work together, not fighting against each other. You understand?
Yeah.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult because also some of the fighters, they got these contracts and they're not even there yet, but they're looking for the sun, the moon, and the stars. You know what I mean? And the promoters are taking chances. They're paying out and they're saying, hey, I'm not making money, and whatever the case may be. But it's not every day you get lucky and get a guy like Canelo that its popularity is out of the roof. You know what I mean? It's but if the promoters would work more together to make more competitive fight, not to pick these schmucks, put the fights more competitive, like the time when Leonard and Hearns and Benitez and Cuevas and Green from England, all these guys, the best are fighting the best. Today the best are fighting the best. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to see the fight I really want to see. I would like to see Crawford with this guy or Spence. That's the fight I'd like to see. Crawford and Spence, the welterweight. These are the two best guys. The two best guys should fight. I'd like to see Fury with Joshua.
That's happening.
they say it's happening, but you got to see until they get in the ring.
Fair enough.
They say, but nothing is signed yet. They say, yeah, but nothing is signed. You know what I mean? When they got to sign a date, because this Englishman is no joke. This Gypsy King's no joke. This guy's, you know, yeah, you know. So I think that's what's missing. That's why, you know, the UFC is getting so, the popularity is like switching a bit, because some of the best boxers not find the best guys. You know, they want the same person to be fighting a guy with a record of 25-4. You know, you can't. You're gonna make $5 million fight a guy like that. You know what I mean? The guy's gonna get blown underwater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so, and there's a lot of good fighters out there today. I mean, there's this kid Gervonta Davis. He's a dog. You know, he's a good fighter. I'd like to see him with that Lopez down the line. Gervonta Davis is no joke. This kid, he's good.
Or even against Lomachenko. I agree.
You know, Lomachenko got beat, but he's gonna come back. You know, but the boxing fraternity right now is very, very rich. It's very rich. There's a lot of good fighters in Europe. Fighters coming out of the old Russia. You know, it's if the promoters, if they could get together and just have tea like they did in the past, you know, break bread and hey, let's make a deal. You know, like, let's do it together. But these guys today, they don't want to risk their stars getting beat, because their stars, like, they're, you know, the pot of gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope. This is the new year. Let's hope.
There's hope. For sure. There's hope. There's hope. Money talks, they say. Money talks, you know.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Only
in America, the donkey says. Only in America.
Howard,
yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on board. I want to thank you.
I appreciate it
for your time. It was great seeing you. Again, we will see each other again after this COVID nonsense finishes. But
yeah, hopefully we'll get out of this thing, and you know what? It's at least they're doing boxing in some states in the States. They're doing nothing here in Canada. You know what I mean?
They're putting on shows in Quebec.
Yeah, they say they're gonna make a show there, but I think ETMO, I have the Tigers. They're doing a show. Yeah. They were supposed to do a show here, but then they brought the show to Mexico. But I heard something might happen in February here in Quebec. But if they extend this curfew and this thing, how are they gonna do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
It's impossible. They're telling you can't train. You can't go to the gym. How are you supposed to train properly for a fight if you can't train? How are you supposed to spar? How are you supposed to be 6 feet apart to do the pads? You know, it's very, very strange times we're living in, man. You know?
Hey, I'm just looking forward to the fact that we got the vaccine and maybe we'll be able to get back to some normalcy. So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but once again, thanks a lot for coming. And I want to thank Talkin Fight Nation. The name is Bola, and that's a scoop.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care, Howard.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you.